Good morning, everybody. Coco and I here this morning. I want to welcome you. It is the 11th of August. It is a Friday, and it's around 10:30 or so in the morning. And Coco and I are coming to you to give you a brief stitching update. This is a culmination of late night stitching last night on a Zoom call, and then this morning's stitching that I did for my bingo group. So let's start with last night. Last night I decided for my final stitching of the day I would pull out one of my projects that was for a prompt in one of the acrostics that doesn't require a set number of stitches. And that way I could either set a small goal or I could stitch whatever I wanted to while I was on my Zoom call. As it turned out, the prompt that I wound up meeting was in the magazine challenge, monthly magazine challenge, and it was in the word roots, and it was for one of the O's, and that O stood for one motif in Halloween Quaker. It's one of my go-to prompts when I have a letter O, because I'm not stitching on too many things that have O. Sometimes there's a word like on, or only, or something like that, but I don't get that very often. So I'm glad that I have a Quaker piece on the go, because one motif fits pretty well. So this will remind you of the one I'm working on. It's from Lila's studio, and I have been working my way across here, and I got this motif finished last. So I decided I would go ahead and do this motif right here last night so that I would have it completed at least all the way across. And that's what I did. And I am very happy to say that I got it done. So it met the prompt. One motif, that's what it was called for. I got it taken care of. So love that blend. It's a blue and a dark brown blend. It's been used in a couple of really big motifs, and then in that leaf. So I love it. I think it's pretty. So there's the size of it. I've got plenty of fabric. I'll have plenty to frame it with. Won't be a problem there. But that gives you the size on my 32 count. And next time I pick it up, I'll have the choice of either going on down this way or coming under here. There's a large motif on either side, so it doesn't matter. But anyway, happy to get that done. And now I only have one motif, one letter remaining in my roots acrostic, and I'm excited about that. I have 4 remaining in my 24 hours of cross stitch, and fortunately that one of those or 2 of those that are in the 24 hours are also the 2 remaining in my daily 30s. So that means that since it's only the 11th of the month, I think I'll have plenty of time to hit my acrostics this month. I'm excited about that. This morning's bingo call was to stitch on number 24, and my number 24 was to stitch on my most recent new start. And I was tickled to death that I had this one as my most recent new start, because I just started it for Whip Go. I met my Whip Go goal on it, and I was looking for an excuse to pick it back up again, so this was perfect. I had finished this whole half up here, the flagpole and all the stuff across the bottom to here, and I had this potted plant and the words to do remaining. Well, my bingo goal for all of my bingo entries is 100 stitches. So I put in 150 because I wanted to finish the planter where the little flower is going to be, and I think it turned out just lovely. And so I met that goal. I've already posted it, and I've done my bingo requirement for the day. And now I'm going to put this back in my project bag because tomorrow, on Saturday, we have a stitching meetup. And I'm going to take this with me to the stitching meetup. It's small, it's easy to transport, it doesn't have a lot of colors, and I can contain everything in my little patriotic project bag, and I'll be ready to go. So that's what I'm going to take with me tomorrow to stitch on. So I'm excited, and I will get this finished hopefully this weekend. We'll see. I don't always get that much stitching at our Saturday events, but I'm hoping that I do. And if I don't finish it there, I may come home and finish it. But I would love it if I could make this a finish this weekend. And that would be one less whip in my whip pile, which would be great. All right, I'm going to get busy now and decide what I want to stitch next and work on it until my son gets here and I can enjoy the afternoon with him. I hope you have started a great weekend, and I look forward to sharing with you more stitching. Well, good evening, everyone. It is late on Friday night, August the 11th. It's actually around 11 o'clock, and I'm about to call it a day. So right before I do, I want to share with you my last little bit of stitching I've done today. I had a prompt in one of my cross-stitch acrostics and 24 hours of cross-stitch for Autumn in the Country because it was designed by Just Nan, and I needed the N in Just Nan. So I pulled out my Autumn in the Country, and I started working. I had, the last time you saw it, I had completed that first little band across that inside border. And today I worked on this piece in parts because my friend Donna called me today or texted me and said, "Hey, have you seen the pop-up challenge for World Cross Stitch Day today?" And I had not. It's in our Daily 30 group, and I was at the grocery store. I hadn't even looked up for the challenges yet today. And so I came home after buying groceries and putting them away, and I pulled up the challenge in the Daily 30 group. And sure enough, there's a pop-up challenge to earn all sorts of coupons for next month. And it was a wonderful challenge. You were to pick any whip you wanted for all of the prompts. You could pick a different one for each prompt or use the same one or double one. It doesn't matter. You got to stitch in whatever you wanted to for all 6 prompts. And for the first 5, you had to stitch 200 stitches, but you had to answer a question. And they're all questions about cross stitch, questions about what's your favorite fabric or what's your favorite floss, those kinds of things. I thought this is wonderful. So as it turned out this morning for my bingo group, I had stitched 150 stitches on one of my pieces. So I pulled it right back out and I put an extra 50 stitches in it till I hit 200. And I posted it for one of my very first prompt in this pop-up challenge because it started this morning and I had stitched it this morning. Well, that was wonderful. And then later in the day, I had worked on another project and I had about 150 stitches in it. No, 130 something. I needed another 70 in that one. And so as soon as I finished the first one, I went to the second one and put another 70 stitches in it so that I could claim it for my second prompt. Well, I got tickled because I posted both of those, and it had only been about an hour and a half since I had talked with my friend Donna. She FaceTimed me immediately. She said, "What's up with this? You just found out about this." You said, "Oh my goodness." It was funny. We've got to chat and talk a little bit, which is great. And then this afternoon, I came back upstairs after my son got here for the weekend, and we talked and made our plans and decided what we were going to do, and he went to take a little nap. I came in here and I stitched again. And then after we had dinner, all of us, I came up here and stitched again. I was still trying to make prompts, but I also wanted to work on my choice of a whip based on my cross sticks that I'm trying to finish. So as it turned out, in 24 hours of cross stitch, as I mentioned, I needed to stitch on my Autumn in the Country. So the first 200 stitches I did, and I posted it, got that prompt. And then I did another 200, and the first one I did 215, the second one I did 269. So all total, I've stitched 484 stitches in here tonight throughout the day, and I completed this large band right here. It's like a green vine with a golden leaf, and then these are apples that have been cut in half, it looks like, because you can see the little seeds in them. When I first started to stitch this, I have a working copy that's in black and white. The pattern's in black and white. And I was thinking I was stitching pumpkins. It had the orange outside, and I thought, well, this will just be a different color orange. No, it was an apple. I didn't even know it. It was funny. But when I started stitching the little seeds, I thought, wait a minute, this is an apple. And then when I went to fill in the final color, and it was that 712, that off-white, I thought, okay, definitely apples that have been sliced in half. But look at that, I have another band. I'm so excited. So the band underneath this now says Autumn, and then it just has sort of a filler over here, and then it gets into the scene where you have the house, the tree, the cat, the little scarecrow. All of that is coming up. So how exciting, how exciting. Almost to the midpoint. I think if I could get the next little band done, because I've stitched a little below, I would say I would be about halfway through. I'm excited. I think it's beautiful. I'm loving it on this fabric. This fabric is called Autumn, and I am loving this piece on here. So that's been my stitching today. Tomorrow will be a great day. It's our stitching meetup at the library. I've already got my stitching packed and ready to go. I have to take my floor stand with me this time because we're all bringing a floor stand or a lap stand if we have one, so that people can try them out, see what they think about it, those that maybe haven't gotten one yet. And so I've got to put my floor stand in the car in the morning before I go. But I didn't want to take it down there tonight because I was using it. I hope you have a great weekend. I don't know how much I'll get to record, but I will share with you at least what I got stitched and tell you about the stitching meetup, hopefully this weekend. Our plans are to go out to dinner tomorrow night for our son's birthday on Sunday, because I'm not sure he'll be here the whole day on Sunday because he has to get back, to get ready to go to work on Monday morning. So we are planning a nice dinner out. He gets to pick where he wants to eat, and we'll celebrate his birthday. Well, that's all the news fit to print, as they say. It's late. I'm going to go to bed, and I will talk to you next time. And in the meantime, happy stitching, everybody. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. It is Saturday, August 12th, and I have a whole lot of information to share with you today. We had a stitching meetup at the library, and I have been participating in a pop-up challenge for World Cross Stitch Day, and I want to share with you what that consisted of, and I have a finish. So let's get busy. Okay. I worked back again on these pieces, just stitching another 200 stitches and posting, and another 200 stitches and posting. I did Autumn in the Country. I did 2 prompts of 200 stitches for Autumn in the Country. And then I used the Autumn in the Country for my 24 hours of cross stitch. So that left me one of my 200 and one 300 to post. So I did my next 200 today at our stitching meetup, and I worked on Old Glory again. And when I got home, I thought, well, I'll try for the 300 and see if I can finish it, because it was getting there. It was getting close. So I did finish it. So that's my finish for today. And when I was counting my stitches for that final 300 stitch prompt, I got to within 11 stitches. I was at 289. And it's okay, because they said right in the challenge that you could combine stitches from more than one whip. You just had to put the whip, tell how many stitches, and put your before and after pictures for each one that you use. And they have to total 300. So I needed 11 stitches to finish the whole pop-up challenge. So I pulled out Welcoming Christmas. And I pulled this one out because I needed it for my Daily 30 group for another challenge, and I needed it in my 24 hours of acrostic. It was for my U in Spontaneous, and the U is for underneath each other. So I put 20 stitches in just to make sure I didn't have any question that I had enough, and I went ahead and posted that one. And then I started working for my 300 for my Daily 30, because I had to do a separate 300. Well, the good news is I had a coupon to use. I earned it last month, and that coupon allows you to stitch 100 stitches and count it as if you have done the full 300. It's a 200 stitch discount. So I put the coupon on this one, and I went ahead and stitched 141 extra stitches, because I finished underneath the little cow's belly. So this is complete all the way across here. Only thing left now is on this little section right here. So that was progress. I was really glad about that. And that concluded not only my pop-up challenge, but it also met one of my prompts in the Daily 30 acrostic, which is Beach Lover. So now I have one prompt left in Beach Lover, and that is the R on the end of the word lover. And I have it set right now to either be Let Love Rain or Royal Games 1. I need Let Love Rain in 24 hours of cross stitch for an acrostic, and I need Royal Games in the Magazine Monthly Challenge for an acrostic. So whichever one of those I want to put 300 stitches in, that's the one I'm going to use for the Daily 30. So I have 2 choices depending on what mood I'm in, and then I can get those done. The only other acrostic letter I'm looking for is the P in Spontaneous in the 24 hours of cross stitch. And it just so happens that I need that same whip, Pandemic, which is what I'm going to use for the P, in my Jane Austen Week challenge in the Daily 30 group, because I need to stitch on a piece that I nearly stopped stitching on and tell why. And I think recently I explained that I decided I really didn't like the way that the light variegation part of my thread was making the pattern disappear, and I almost stopped working on it completely. I was just gonna UFO it. And then I decided, no, I think I'll finish to a certain point and make a pillow out of it, but I almost stopped on stitching on it, and that's why. So that'll be what I do for that prompt. So I have 4 prompts left to hit for all the acrostics and the challenge that goes through the 18th of August. But I can hit all 4 with 2 whips, which is great. Then a new challenge came out. In addition to our pop-up challenge, we have a new challenge in the Daily 30 group, and it is called the National Friendship Day Week. And so we get to stitch on whips that have to do with friendships. And so I'm looking forward to that, but I have 2 full weeks. That one doesn't expire till August the 25th. So I got plenty of time to work on that. I'm not even going to start on it until I finish what I've been trying to get through. I also have my number already has been called for my bingo for tomorrow, and it is to stitch on my Christmas Village ornament. So I need to work that in too, and it doesn't fit in any other acrostic. So I will have to put at least 100 stitches in it, and then I can work on these other things. So that's been my stitching for today. I went to the stitching meetup this morning. We had 23 people there today. It was wonderful. We had to go get an extra table and 2 extra chairs out of the closets to have room for everybody. And I love it when we have to do that. It's amazing. We had decided today to have people bring their floor stands and their lap stands, and we let people look at each other's and talk about how they worked. And I had a lady very interested in mine. She wants to check into, I guess, looking at that. And then there was another couple of ladies that one was letting another actually stitch on her floor stand. And then they left together to go to the parking lot for a few minutes, and they took the floor stand with them. So I'm thinking that one of them may have been trying it out with the hopes of buying it from the other lady. And if we do buy and sell anything at our stitching meetup, it has to be done in the parking lot because the library won't let you sell anything in the actual room itself. So I hope that's what was happening. I hope that was a good thing. I looked around the room a couple of times today, and I was so thrilled to see everybody talking and visiting and stitching and helping each other. At one point, these 2 ladies went over to the one of the tables on the side of the room and set up an ironing station, and they were trying to help. One was trying to help the other get all her folds and wrinkles out of her linen, and they were trying different techniques to do that. One was helping the other try different things, and it was just organic the way that happened. You know, this lady said, I just brought this to see if anybody had any suggestions, and you know, there it went. It was delightful. We had 3 new people today that had never been before. They found out about us through the library, and they have all said they would like to come back, which is amazing. I'm excited about that. A few of us decided to walk up the street to our square for lunch today, and we wanted to go eat pizza. And when we mentioned it, several people wanted to go, and we wound up having 10 of us go to lunch today. And that was amazing. I loved it. It was so fun because we got to sit and talk a little bit as a group, and we weren't all sitting together in the stitching room. So it was a great time to get to visit with other people, you know, that weren't at your table. So that was awesome. And then we just walked back to the library. It was one of our stitchers' birthdays, and her best friend, and my friend Donna both brought cupcakes for her for the room. And I'm glad that they both brought them because we had a larger crowd, you know, than we expected. So it took both of their cupcakes to feed everybody for the birthday party. It was just lovely. It was just such a lovely time. It was great to come down the hall and see our stitching on display. And I actually had one of the librarians, one of the employees at the library, stop me on the way out. And she said she just had been admiring that all week. And she just couldn't get over all the beading and all the beautiful things that, you know, floss and fabric and stuff that was up there. We asked her if she stitched. She said she was interested in it, but she had never learned how. We invited her to come join us, of course. I hope she will, because they rotate through who works on what Saturdays. So there would be Saturdays she could come, so I hope she will. I came out of there just feeling like it was a wonderful day. We had door prizes, and one of our new people that were visiting won a door prize. I love it when that happens. And then we just had a great freebie table, And I think everybody truly, truly enjoyed themselves today. Other than that, I've been back home. I've put my things away. I finished up all the stitching for all these prompts, got that pop-up challenge taken care of. And now tomorrow we'll go to church and we'll sing in the choir and hopefully have sort of a day of rest. It's my son's birthday tomorrow, and we were going to take him out to dinner for his birthday, but he got a call from one of his roommates and they had an emergency. He had to get back to Lawrenceville to help them work out a problem with the house. So we'll celebrate another day, which will be fun. So I have a finish I'm excited about. I made progress on welcoming Christmas. I've made progress on Autumn in the Country this week, working through this pop-up challenge. So it's really helped me get some stitches in. I've enjoyed that. And now I want to get back on these prompts that I'm normally stitching for, and I have my bingo prompt for tomorrow as well. But I'm excited because I have my first finish of August, and it's my Old Glory, which was a whip go start for August. So that's pretty nice. I was really happy about that. I love this one. I told you in a previous little segment how much I enjoyed the colors in that. They're quite different, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, and looking forward to getting it off this scroll rod and putting something else on there hopefully soon. My whip go calls, I still have to do 2. One is I need to put 4 more hours worth of time into Nativity to get the 5 hours. And the other one is one I haven't started working on yet, and it's to put 5 hours into a sampler for all seasons. So those are some of the projects you can look forward to seeing, and I appreciate you letting me tell you all about the day and the stitching and all the fun we had at our stitching meetup, and had a great day. We were at the library at the stitching meetup today when the deadline occurred for people to sign up for a retreat next year in Alabama with Gary and Ronnie. The Garon Stitchery sponsored retreat, Stitching in the Wild. And there were about 6 ladies there trying to register, and 4 got in, and the other 2 didn't. They were putting in their credit card number and putting in their PayPal information, and it just said no longer available. It had sold out from our calculations in 4 minutes. I can't wait to hear what Gary and Ronnie say as to how quick they had to cut it off, but that was amazing. And I'm excited that Donna and I had already registered because we went the year before, and they allowed us to register first just a few days ago, and so we got that done. So we knew we were there, but we were tickled to death that there were 6 people in our stitching group that wanted to go, partially because it's drivable distance and we could all caravan over there together. But we encouraged the 2 who didn't make it to get on the wait list. So if you didn't make it, put your name on the wait list. They will be working the wait list as if people cancel. You know, that it's a long time till September of 2024, so don't give up hope yet. Anyway, thanks for letting me tell you all about my stitching, about my finish, about the day, and my plans for the rest of the weekend. And for you, happy stitching. Hello everyone, welcome. This is Dina. It is Monday, August 14th, the day after JT's birthday. Thank you, so many of you have wished him happy birthday on my last video, and I will be relaying all of those birthday messages to him, so thank you for that. Today, I was trying to finish up stitching on a piece that I started for a prompt yesterday. The prompt was to stitch on a whip that contained something that had been gifted to you, whether it was the pattern or the floss or something of that nature. And so I picked my Christmas Village ornament because, if you'll recall, my son gifted me this kit for these 6 ornaments one year for Christmas. And I had stitched one of them already. I stitched the one with Santa Claus on the roof first, this one. And then this time I am working on the one that has the little church in it. And it has the father, mother, son, and the little puppy dog, because I felt like that really represented our family. And the fact that they were caroling in front of the church also was meaningful to me, because we used to take Jeremy caroling with our church. We'd all pile on a big church bus and go caroling in the neighborhoods. Anyway, it was meaningful for me. And so I pulled it out yesterday, and I needed to stitch at least 400 stitches for this big prompt. And I wound up stitching more than that, almost 500 stitches. Enough so that I had only one color left to finish the cross stitching in the ornament. And then I would be ready to do back stitching. Well, I did that this morning. I stopped last night with only one color left. And this morning I picked it back up. And as you can tell, I just took it off my stand to show you. Here it is. I think it's lovely. I'm going to put it up as close as I can to tell you about it, and then I'm going to flip the camera around and I'm going to show it to you up close. But I think it's beautiful. Now, this is one of those situations where back stitching is everything. It truly, truly is. Before back stitching, this just looked like a blob, and now you can see the 3 lamps and the glow of light around them. Before back stitching, you couldn't really tell that the clothing on those people, the style of it, or what it really, really looked like. And I just think it has made a world of difference here in the windows in the church. But there's a ton of back stitching in this thing, a ton, way more than you would ever imagine. And a lot of colors, which I'll show you when I turn it around. But today, to finish this piece, when I only had one color left to stitch, which was the light gray in the church building itself, and the rest was back stitching, I counted the cross stitches as a stitch. I counted the back stitching. I took 2 stitches to make 1 X. And I still made 955 stitches today. That's how much back stitching is in this stuff. So I'll share that with you a little more when I turn it around, but I just wanted you to get to see this because of the colors. I think they're beautiful. They're on 18 count Aida, so they're tiny, 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 but I think they're gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. I told you I had the urge to finish everything, and so when I got down to the last color on this yesterday, it was a blessing that I didn't really know how much back stitching was involved. I had forgotten about that because it had been a year in between these two. But I had made the decision that I was going to take the day and I was going to finish this piece before I stitched on anything else because it was so close to a finish. And I didn't want to put it away again unfinished. So I'm glad I got it. And I thank you for letting me share it with you. And I do think they're gorgeous. If you have been wondering whether you would like to do these, especially if you don't mind full coverage, but even for me, it's a small enough piece that I can manage it. But this is a Dimensions kit. It's the Gold collection. And it's called Christmas Village Ornaments. Gold collection. This is an older kit. The pattern is quite small. I will show you the size. Boom, that's all 6 of them. So I enlarged mine on my color copier to where I could see it and be able to mark off my working copy. So I've made each one of mine this big. And that's how I got it to where I could work on it. I will tell you this too. The threads are not sorted. You have to sort them yourself unless they've repackaged this kit in the later years. This is how it comes. They're in braids, I guess, or groupings. And I took mine. I made little floss drops out of Christmas paper, scrapbooking paper. And I have them on very small rings so that I don't have to dig through too many at a time to get there. But these are your flosses, and you will have to sort them if you get this kit. So it's not a daunting task. It just takes a little bit of time, and I just tell you that to be informative. I would love to encourage you though to stitch it. It's beautiful, and now that I have finished it, I was hoping that if I had finished it by June, that I would be willing to start another one so that I could get it maybe halfway by the end of the year. But because I have finish-itis, I'm not going to start another one right now. I may start one at Christmas, but I'm not going to start one right now. I'm going to see what else I can get a finish on this year. So that one was exciting, and it was unplanned. So thanks for letting me share that with you, and I'm going to flip it around now and give you an up-close view of it, and I thank you for letting me share my finish with you. I hope you're having a great start to your week. I certainly have. Happy stitching, everybody. Okay, here is a close-up view of the second of my 6 Christmas Village ornaments. This is the one that I did because of the family. The husband, the wife, the son, and the dog reminded me of our family. So here is my second full coverage ornament. I love the colors, but I will tell you 2 things. The trees are hard to stitch because they have lots of different colors and they have gaps in them that the background shows through, so it's confusing when you are asked to put in blues. This one had a lot of back stitching in it. A lot. In many, many colors, in fact. So there was black back stitching for some of the darker areas. There was dark gray back stitching. There was dark blue back stitching. There was dark green back stitching. There was dark brown back stitching. There was a blue-gray back stitching. There was a yellow back stitching. A lot of back stitching. But I will tell you, I think it's beautiful. I really, really like it. And I'm delighted to have this one finished because it's the second one in the series. It was one that meant a lot to me because it represented our family, and especially us caroling in front of the church. There are a couple of errors in here. One is somehow this doesn't quite line up right with the back stitching, but I just left it there. You kind of get the idea. And number 2, I was supposed to do these books with a back stitch coming up in a V and down in a V. But the yellow was so prominent there, I just went ahead and stitched around it straight. So that was more of a decision than an error. These branches were very hard to follow. I did the best I could, but I'm not sure they're perfect, but that's okay. But it's done. It's done, and I am thrilled, thrilled, thrilled. Couldn't be happier. So here you have it. Christmas Village ornament number 2. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back. This is Dina. It is the 15th of August. It is a Tuesday afternoon. So I've had a busy morning. I've been to my ladies' Bible study at my church. And then as soon as I was through with that, I was going to meet my husband for a late lunch. And the bottom fell out. It was pouring rain. And I stood and talked to my friend at church, who is our church administrator there, for a few minutes because she's working on the Sleepy Hollow by Glendon place. And we were talking about it, and I let her know I have the remnants of all of my Kringles and beads and everything that I used, and I'd be happy to give them to her, and in hopes that maybe there'd be enough of a few of them where she wouldn't have to buy all that. And she's all excited, so I think we're going to get together Friday and stitch together, and I can give it to her then. But during that conversation, which was just a few minutes, the rainstorm blew over, and there was a break in the rain, and I ran to the car and called my husband and said, I can get there, and he said, I'll meet you. And so we went for lunch. It was lovely. We like to have dates, so we go out for lunch because it's more affordable, much more often than we go out for dinner. But anyway, that was fun. We had a good time. So I got back home, played with Coco a little bit, and then came up here to see where I stood on all of my prompts. Yesterday in my bingo group, the call was for one of my whip go pieces, the number that was called. I had put in there to work on a whip go piece. And so I looked at my whip go pieces. I had worked on one before, so I chose a different one this time, a sampler for all seasons. This one is a beautiful sampler, and when it came out ahead of time as a private release. You had to buy the whole kit. And a friend of mine contacted me and told me about it and said, would you like to stitch it? I'd like to stitch it. Let's do it together. And so I ordered my kit. She ordered her kit. In fact, she ordered her kit to come to my house because she lives in England and they won't ship to England. So I mailed it to her. And then after we both had ours, we went ahead and started it together. So I tell you that story simply because one of the prompts in my Daily 30 group was to stitch on a piece that reminded you of a friend. And so this is the one I chose for that. So I did my 100 stitches for bingo. I did that last night because that was the day it was called. I posted it and I just left everything out and went to bed. And then when I got up here this afternoon, it was still sitting here. And I saw that prompt and I said, you know, if I just stitch a little bit longer, I'll have another prompt with this thing. So that's what I did. And this is where I got to. And I have a total of 339 stitches that I have stitched. And so I had previously stitched part of the words here. And so I just finished out that page, that line on that page, and I started back on this line. I didn't do quite the whole thing because I didn't need them for this prompt. And I have my bingo for today I have to do, so I am going to put it away for now. I hope to pick it back up very quickly and finish out those couple of lines, but I do have that enough for a prompt, and I wanted to do that and move on for my other bingo call, which is for me Hawk Run Hollow today. So I need to put 100 stitches in my Hawk Run Hollow before I do anything else and post it, and then I will have met my obligation for today, and I can look and see what other prompts I want to start working on. I don't believe that I have any other meetings, appointments, phone calls for the rest of the day. I've already got supper ready for tonight, so I'm in good shape to get some stitching done today. I'm very excited about that. So as I do make progress, if I have enough to share with you, I'll be back and I'll share that with you. Happy stitching, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. It is the morning of August 16th. It is a Wednesday, and I have a few things to do today, so I'm getting started early. I first of all want to share with you some stitching that I did last night and tell you what I'm hoping to get to do today in and amongst all the errands and things that I have to do. So yesterday's bingo prompt was to stitch on number, let's see here, 5. And my number 5 was Hulk Run Hollow. And so I'll remind you that I'm working on the spring at Hulk Run Hollow, and I'm working on this little square block right here. And I only had to do 100 stitches, and I wound up doing 153 because I wanted to finish a couple of things. So I put the second color of green right in here, finished off the stem, and then I completed both of these little tiny motifs right there. So now the bottom portion is complete, and I can just finish up this little leaf right here. There are some little motifs here, and there's a couple of motifs up here that are very small. So depending on how much time I have to stitch the next time I pull this out, I could finish a block. I actually thought about doing that yesterday, but I didn't get to stitch on this until very late last night. I didn't start stitching till after 9 o'clock. So I just did the minimum that was required for that prompt. I didn't even meet another prompt of any kind. I just did that one and then went to bed. So today's pull on our bingo is to stitch on the number 16, and for me that's a whip go call. Well, I have stitched on 2 of my whip go calls, and one of them is finished, which is where that one would be today. So now I can decide, do I want to stitch on one that I've already stitched on for a second time, which would be fine, or do I want to stitch on Nativity, which was my final whip go call? I have one more whip go call on this board, so I'm going to save Nativity for that. So today I am going to pull back out a sampler for all seasons. I only have to do 100 stitches in it, and I had just worked on it the last couple of days and said I wanted to finish that line that I didn't get to finish, and so that kind of helped me decide that I was ready to pull it back out. I did want to do that and work on it a little bit more. So I'll do that this morning. My husband and I are going out of town for an appointment today, early afternoon, and then when we get back, we'll get back probably just in time to go to choir. So this may be all the stitching I get to do today. I don't know. But regardless, I'll try to get that 100 stitches in, and whatever I get done, I'll come back and share with you. And now, before I get busy with erranding and things of that nature, I'm going to pull out my stitching. I'm going to get started on it, and in a few minutes, I get to talk to my friend Glow. So I'm real excited about that. We'll stitch together as we talk and catch up. So I will hopefully be back to see you later tonight. In the meantime, everybody, happy stitching. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It is later on the 16th of August, and I am here to show you my next accomplishment in stitching. I had on my little bingo group this morning, I mentioned to you I needed to stitch on another whip go piece, so I pulled out my Scarlet House piece, a sampler for all seasons, because I had been working on the wording, stitching the wording on that, and I really wanted to get a little more of it done, and I only needed to do 100 stitches for my little bingo group. So I thought that'll just push this lettering just a little bit further, and that's what I wanted to do. So I pulled it out and I stitched on it, and I was talking to my friend Glow as I was stitching on it, and we talked and visited and had such a good time. And lettering is an easy stitch to do when you're talking. And so I finished that second line there, and I got this much done. Kept extending this one out. And so I wound up getting a total of 315 stitches in here. And I thought, oh man, that's a lot of stitches. I'd love to see if that fit a prompt. And I went looking at what I had left to work on for my prompts, and I discovered something. This is a whip go call, and my whip go goal is 5 hours. And I had stitched 3 on it, and I was waiting to finish the last 2. So today, with my stitching of 315 stitches while I talked to my friend, I got the last 2 hours in it. So I was able to mark it blue on my whip go board. It's number 18, so it's this one right here. I didn't get a whip go out of it. I didn't get a bingo or anything, but I got to mark it off. So now this board for August is complete. And the only other whip go that I have to work on is I have to finish my nativity. I've got 1 hour in it, and I need to do another 4 this month at some time. I will tell you, it is on my little bingo board for another call. It's on there for my whip go call. And then I've already worked on it. That's where I got the first hour when it was on there by name. But as the whip go call, I will be able to pull it out again and put at least 100 stitches in it. At least an hour will go toward my bingo board, so I know it'll be called again this month. And I think what I will do is I may go ahead and work an hour on it, here and there, so that I don't have to do all 4 of them at one time. But that's the last whip go I have for the month, and it's only the 16th of the month. So I'm feeling really, really positive about my whip go this month. So I'll give you a little update. I have 1 letter remaining in my magazine monthly acrostic of roots, and that's the R. And I've decided to use Let Love Reign for that. I had originally put Royal Games there, but I've got to use Let Love Reign in my 24 hours of cross stitch for the T for Teresa Kogut. So since I've got a stitch on it anyway, I'll go ahead and use it for both of them so that I can double dip it. And then I have a P left in the 24 hours of cross stitch. Now I have Pandemic in there because I need Pandemic for another prompt, the last prompt in my daily 30 group challenge this week. And so I have both of those that I need to stitch on. One of them I need to stitch on this week, which is the Pandemic. So my thoughts are that if I get any more chances to stitch today, I'll pull out my Pandemic because I have to get at least 200 stitches in it for the prompt. And I could hit both of those with that, and I would be down to 1 prompt left to finish all of my cross sticks. So that's pretty good. I'm excited about that. Well, I'm gonna pack up here, put everything away. My husband and I are about to have lunch, and then we'll head toward Atlanta for our appointment, and then choir, and then hopefully stitching later this evening. If I don't get to come back and talk to you again tonight, I hope you have happy stitching the rest of your day. Hello everybody, welcome. It is August 17th. It is a Thursday, and I'm here to tell you what I've been stitching on today. I've had a great day. I want to share it with you. So today, I needed to pull out my Let Love Reign because I was using this in my daily 30 group for my final prompt. I was using it in my magazine monthly challenge group for my final prompt in the acrostic, and it was one of the last 2 letters in my 24 hours of cross stitch acrostic. And so I needed it for 3 prompts today, one of which required 300 stitches. So I pulled it out, and I just looked at the top where I left off, and I stitched the flowers until I hit 310 stitches. So here's the top across. You can actually see now where the border will turn. There's this corner here, and then that will be the corner over there. So today I had finished this middle. I started this flower and stitched it completely. And then I came over here and I started these 3 flowers, and I just did the same color in all 3 because they're all connected together. And I have a few more colors to do in order to finish them because they're going to look just like this over here. So I still have a few colors to put in there. But I had 310 stitches, and this is going to come out again next month for some challenges. So I figured I'd go ahead and put it away because I had hit, 3 prompts with it, and I felt like that was awesome. So I mentioned the 3 that this hit. So what does that leave me for my challenges? Well, I have 1 prompt left in a challenge that is over tomorrow at 5 o'clock, and it is to stitch on a whip that you nearly stopped stitching on, and explain why. And I had mentioned before I was going to use Pandemic for that because I almost gave up on it because I felt like I didn't like the color. So I'm also using Pandemic as my final letter for my acrostic in 24 hours across stitch. That Spontaneous has a P in it, and I'm using Pandemic for that. In my challenge, it is in the Daily 30 group. It's not in the acrostic, but it is a Daily 30 challenge, and it will require a minimum of 200 stitches, and I can get maximum points if I stitch 300. So I'm just going to see how that goes. So I have 2 things I want to stitch tomorrow. One is my pull for my bingo, which is going to be Royal Games. I have to put 100 stitches in her. And the second one is going to be my Pandemic, and I have to put at least 200 stitches in Pandemic. I actually will probably do Pandemic first because that challenge is over at midnight tomorrow, and I'll lose the opportunity of earning those tokens if I don't do it, whereas I can catch up on bingo if I don't get that one done. So that's kind of what my plans are for tomorrow. I hope you've had a great day. I hope you continue to have a great week of stitching, and I will hope to be able to share some good news with you about stitching tomorrow. Happy stitching, everybody. Hello, everyone. Welcome. It is Friday, August 18th, and I have something to share with you today. I had a phone call letting me know that this was ready, and so today I had to go to one of those annual appointments that you do. This is for a skin check at the dermatology office, and the good news is no skin cancer, nothing to worry about, nothing to even be concerned about. So thank you, Lord, for that. I was quite the sun worshiper as a young teenager, young adult, laid out in the sun an awful lot, and I do have the remnants of that. They can see that in my skin when they look at it really close, but it's not, so far, hasn't caused me any skin cancer. So I think I dodged a bullet so far on that one. I'm much more careful now. I don't lay out in the sun. I don't tan. I use, a sun's screen in my makeup, and I put on suntan lotion if I'm going to be outside for any length of time. So I think that I've done well since I've been an adult. So take care of your skin. But I went to that appointment today, and as soon as I got out, I headed straight to the framer because I picked up Kringles today, and I want to share it with you. So here it is. I had mentioned that I had picked out a golden mat to match the lettering in Kringles and all of the gold throughout the piece. It's there, it's in every block, it's just a little bit of it. But I felt like it would add to the holiday vibe. And most seasons I have some gold. There are years that I use nothing but silver. And that's okay. I'll just put this in a different room that year. So here's Kringles. If you can tell, the frame has a little bit of a raised, let's see how close I can get to you. I have my floor stand sitting there. It has a raised, pretty, leafy, filigree kind of thing going on here, but it's almost as if the top layer of paint has been knocked off because it has a gold undertone to it. I hope you can see that. I think you can. But I felt like that looks really good also with the gold matting. So there you have it. Here is my Kringles. When I went to pick it up today, I have a sweet, sweet lady that tries to help me every time I go there because she loves to see what I do. And I like for her to help me because she is so enamored with it and she works so hard on it to get it as perfectly straight as she can. And, you know, do what she can to make it a really pretty framing job. She treats it with great respect. And so I always like to get her to help me when I can. And I just lucked out today and she was working and was there and available when I walked up. And when she saw me, she said, "Hey, Dana," she said, "Are you here to pick something up?" And when I handed her my little piece of paper and she went and got it, she said, "I think this is the biggest one we've ever done for you." And I think it may be. I have bigger pieces, but I had those done before we moved here by my framer down in Warner Robins, Georgia. So I think this is the largest one they've framed for me here. And she just loved it. She said she enjoyed looking in every little room at all of the little vignettes. She just thought they were precious. So I'm glad she's enjoyed it. You know, she's not even a stitcher and she has enjoyed the look of it and the little imagination of the stories that would have occurred in each of those little rooms. So here we have it. I'm going to step back a little bit so you can see the full thing. It's a beautiful, substantial piece, and I'm just thrilled to have it ready for this Christmas. It won't be long, just a couple of months before I'll put this out. I do start my Christmas decorations right after Halloween because I want them up for a while, and so sometimes it may take me up to 2 weeks to get everything out, and then I enjoy them, you know, the last half of November, all of December, and then I take my time getting them down in January. So I try to enjoy my Christmas winter themes as long as I can. So yes, I will do that. So there you have it, Kringles. Thanks for letting me share it with you. Thanks for coming along on that journey with me. And thanks to the group, the Determined Stitchers, for helping me make this a focus piece for the year. I split it into 12 parts to be a part of their group. And it worked out, and I even got ahead and finished it. So my next one I want to work on that way is my Autumn Bell Pull, and I'll be filing that, you know, putting that in the Facebook group pretty soon here with what I'm going to try to do. So maybe I'll get that one done by the end of the year too. Wouldn't that be something? Okay, I'm going to put this away, and I'm going to go meet my husband for lunch before I get started stitching today. But just wanted to share this with you because it was so exciting to get to pick it up. And I'll be joining you stitching in a little while, so maybe I'll have something else to share tonight. But in the meantime, happy stitching, everybody.